We'll take it. Thanks, Steve. One day overdue. The juggernaut that is the New York State Legislature presses on today, and there's been quite a bit of movement today in the Assembly and the Senate, as we heard from our Kimberly Howard on CBS 6 News at 5. Here to break down what's going on and what's happening behind the scenes, our political analyst, New York Post political columnist, Fred Dicker. Fred, what are you hearing today?
Well, I'm hearing that unless something happens dramatically, I think that's the word that the Assembly Speaker, Carl Heastie, used, the legislature will be back next week. A lot of small bills being discussed, some things that are important, obviously, to many people. But the bottom line issues, mainly dealing with those rent regulations for New York City, still are far from being resolved.
So lawmakers are kind of being told, I'm being told to go home for the weekend and get refreshed?
The Senate Republicans are going to leave tonight, according to John Flanagan, the new majority leader. The Assembly Democrats are going to be around until 2 or 3 tomorrow afternoon. This, of course, is good news for local restaurants and maybe TV and radio station advertising departments, because these ads that we've been hearing are going to continue because they'll be here next week. But the fundamental problems are still there. The governor had a fundraiser planned for New York City tonight. He canceled that. So talks are continuing. He met separately with the legislative leaders today, Cody, but they haven't met together. You wonder why they're not doing real three-way meetings.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I mean, some major issues have been hashed out. You had the Enough is Enough bill. They're talking about mixed martial arts fighting right now. But you say one of the big issues on the table that affects millions of people, at least downstate, is this rent control law.
Well, it's rent control. It's the investment or education investment tax credit, which is very, very controversial. The possibility of extending now mayoral control in New York City of the school system, as well as the property tax cap upstate. There are a couple of other big ones. Senate Republicans, this is a very timely developing angle here, Cody. Senate Republicans, some of them anyway, had been hoping to roll back some of the provisions of the governor's so-called SAFE Act that restricted gun ownership. But in light of this terrible tragedy down in South Carolina, some people are saying privately, that effort may be lost.
Yeah, certainly not going to get any traction right now with the tragedy that's happening to our south. Well, we know you'll hunker down and stay with the lawmakers as long as they're there. Fred, thanks so much. Reminder, you can hear Fred's radio program live from the state capitol every weekday morning from 10 to 11 on Talk 1300 AM.